Hello, boys and girls. You will receive an image, a very simple lined image of Martin Luther King. We'll have several to choose from. You're also going to receive your image on a piece of cardstock, which is a harder, stronger piece of paper. You are going to get white glue or Elmer's glue. And boys and girls, you can see the image on here isn't very dark, but you can clearly see it. And we are going to trace over the lines with white glue. So make sure you open your glue carefully. Don't let it flood. And you're going to apply some pressure, but not too much pressure while you're adding your glue. So I'm going to be turning my page and starting at the top so my hands don't get in the glue. And I'm just going to follow clearly, slowly around. It's really hard to see the edge of the image, but I'm not going too quickly. And I'm going to start at the top. And when I get to a point where I can lift, I'm going to sort of squeeze down and lift. So now I have the first line of glue at his hairline. Second one I'm going to do is the top of his hairline, where his forehead is. And it's not always going to be perfect, but I want to see where my glue is moving. And always kind of keep it a little bit up so you can clearly see the lines you're about to trace. And I'm going to go around his ear, around this side, and I'm going to quick stop and lift. Careful how you lift. Maybe use your other hand to catch some glue. And now I have his hair done. We might need a napkin for our hands. You don't want to puddle glue on the image. The ear is going to be a little more complicated. You try your best. That's all we can do. Okay, we want to have something to wipe off our hands. Now, I'm going to go to the second part of the image, the side of his face. You always want to see where your line is moving. I'm creating a bubble, which is a little problematic. I'm going to stop at his eye, lift, catch the glue so the glue doesn't attach. Now, I may only be able to do part of this in a session if I'm going slow and careful. I want to work from one side of the image all the way down. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to work on this ear. It's a little complicated. Just do your best. Doesn't have to be perfect. And you can see the glue might be thicker than the line. We want to try to avoid that. And here we go. And lift. Pull the glue away. So I have his ear, his hair. Now, this is the trickier part. The eyebrows. Top. Slowly work your way around. Make sure you can see what you're drawing with your glue. And curve and lift. If you get a little glue on your hand, don't worry. We'll have a wipe of some sort. You can see this is separating. Now, we aren't completing this work until the entire image is copied. Here's his other eyebrow. Over and back. Smaller images are harder to do. Glue, trying to catch it. The eyes are going to be tricky. There we go. I'm going to put a dot in the center. And I think what I'm going to give you are smaller bottles of glue that don't run so quickly. Or you can kind of close your glue bottle a little bit so it doesn't flow so fast. And here's the top edge of his eye. I want to get to a point where I can see it clearly. Top of the eye. Yep, that helped. I closed the glue bottle a little bit it's not so heavy. Bottom of his eye. Lift, wipe. Top of the eyelid. Now, the face is really, the eyes are really important. So you want to go as carefully as possible. And bottom of his eye. And I almost forgot his pupil. It's kind of hard to see. Let's see. Pupil. Edge of the eye. Over. Lift. Dot in the center. I know that I'm missing half of this eye here, which might look a little strange when you're done. We're going to try to avoid that. If it floods a little bit, that's okay. We can fix it later. All right. And now I'm just going to continue down the face line. Here's the edge of his mouth. His hand is on his face. And now I'm going to curve over, and I think I'm just going to stop here and lift and wipe off the edge. There we go. Now, after we have this entire portrait copied, we're going to have to let it dry carefully. And we are going to use the edge of this raised glue to add pastels in the center, which are going to be amazing, but we have to let the glue dry. So this is step one of our project.
Alright, our next step, after this glue dries, we're going to add color with pastels. Oil versus soft pastels. It depends on the materials that we have. If we have enough soft pastels, we'll be using soft. If we don't, we'll have to use our oil pastels to complete the image. These are 7 oil pastel techniques. The general tip with oil pastels is usually keep newspaper underneath or scrap paper underneath to catch oil pastel flakes. We need to try layering for endless possibilities. We want to keep a small rag or paper towel to wipe off any dirty or stained oil pastels. You can use light pressure blending, heavy pressure blending, scumbling. It's applying controlled little scribbled marks of oil pastel to build up your value and texture. Scumbling, which is a strange word. You could do color mixing, sgraffito, which is scraping away at a base color, stippling, which is using small choppy strokes to create a stippled effect on paper, and we layer with additional colors for depth, or using oil, like baby oil, with a cotton swab soaked, and it'll help smooth and blend the oil pastel marks on the paper. Of course, we are going to have a scrap paper to test out some of these different techniques and give some of them a try. If we happen to be using the chalk pastels, we'll be learning some new and interesting techniques like blending 2 colors together, cross-hatching, using the flat edge of the pastel, hatching or hatch marks, layering colors over one another. We won't be masking or using stencils, but that's an interesting technique too. We could use short strokes of pastels to create a chunky textured look, or once again stippling, which is making kind of a dotted mark with the tip of your pastels. Thank you, boys and girls.
So if you have a look at some of these, this is my koi fish glue drawing, so you can see the koi are just sitting there. This is just an abstract shape, and these are some leaves, so it's much easier to distinguish where the shapes are once it's dried a little bit, and when we add colour it will become more apparent. Now we're up to adding our colour. I've got some soft pastels here. You don't need too many colours at all. I'm just going to stick to using some of my warm colours and a few of my blue tones and my greens on my lily pads. So if you're teaching students how to blend with your chalk pastels, then this is a really easy way of going about it. So add a little bit of colour. I like to blend my colours, so add a few different tones of the red, going from dark up the top, and we'll mix in some yellow to make it lighter on one edge. So I'm just going to colour in my areas, blend the colours. I'm going to do all my warm colours first because I'll have a lot of chalk on my fingers, and then wipe it off and do my cool colours so you don't get all the colours blending to create brown, which is very easy to do. So I'll keep my koi fish warm colours, and then the middle ground and the background will be cool. Okay, so now I finished adding my colour.